A new dawn, a new horizon of healthcare delivery and patient safety. We have a goal, a noble drive.
Hand in hand, step by step, we will thrive.
To march ahead together for a bright and shiny future with patient safety and quality healthcare. We are CAHO, your healthcare companion, standing right by your side. Joining hands for building a vision, shaping a culture for patient safety.
Setting up standards with best foot forward. Won't ever leave no stone unturned.
We wear our pride on our sleeves, walk with passion like a breeze, train people, enhancing their skills, spreading the message of quality healthcare for safer patient care, a better nation.
We have a goal,
We have a goal,
a noble drive.
noble drive. Hand in hand, step by step, we will thrive. To march ahead together for a bright and shiny future with patient safety and quality healthcare. We are CAHO, your healthcare companion, standing right by your side.
Evening, friends. It's
evening,
indeed
sir.
my proud privilege to bring you greetings from CAHO. I think CAHO was in a capsule was introduced to you through this anthem. We are a not-for-profit body. Our main DNA is to promote patient safety and quality in the country. We have three vertical divisions. We call it healthcare institutions, the diagnostic centers, and the quality professionals. And over a period of time, of course, one of the aims have been to promote accreditation. And when we also realized that a lot of times people are understanding that accreditation is as if the end of their quality journey, and it is not it has to be the beginning of the quality journey. And it is not so, because each and every member of the healthcare delivery system has to be approached, has to be taken into account. And that is where we have been reaching out to various verticals, whether it is they have been the clinicians, they have been the nurses, they have been the healthcare engineers. We have been, of course, missing out on this very, very important and significant part of our healthcare delivery, and that is the AYUSH stream of doctors. It has been definitely a missing link, and I think today is like a red letter day. It's a momentous day for us. And I think all of us who are present here are going to make a history of trying to bring all these leaders of the AYUSH together. We have to see how to take this entire conversation about safety in healthcare. Also, although AYUSH is a relatively much safer kind of a healthcare system as compared to our modern system of medicine, even then, I think a lot of misgivings, a lot of communications, etc., need to be kind of taken care of. And that is what we will be doing through this particular wing, through this forum. people like us. I have been a chair of the co-chair of the accreditation committee, and I was sitting and sometimes judging the AYUSH hospital without having any knowledge about it. We had, of course, one Dr. Ramesh Kumar. I think if I'm not getting his name wrong.
Yeah, Ramesh.
So he was there to give us the inputs. But I think together we are going to have much greater, deeper understanding of the issues relating to the AYUSH system. And we would like you to please get involved with the other CAHO activities, whatever so we will, of course, look forward to your presence and maybe a very special program during our Kolkata conference next year in 5th, 6th, and 7th of April 2024. So I welcome you all, and with open arms, we would like to embrace this particular wing of CAHO under the leadership of Father Johnson, who is the heading our healthcare institution division. And we, of course, have here Lalu Joseph, the Secretary General, and I'm sure all other leaders. Gayatri has been very kind to introduce us to Dr. Swetha, and she was very, very instrumental in bringing us all together. We have also the presence of our patron. I can see Air Marshal Pawan Kapoor. So thank you so much, sir. Your presence is great. And I'm sure he would remember, sir, that we are sitting in the accreditation committee and trying to go through this AYUSH hospital system, knowing nothing about it. So
we got educated during that time.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And over to Father Johnson.
Dr. Lalu, a few words of blessings.
Father, you have to bless all of us. Thank you so much indeed. It's a red letter day. I'm very, very excited because when Dr. Shankar called me and said, Madam, there is this Dr. Swetha who's very active with the accreditation program and you must talk to her. Honestly, you know, it was like an answer to a question that has been in our minds for many years. Through Dr. Swetha, we got connected to all of you. And today we are very excited that we are going to be listening to all our queries so that we get educated. We are in a position to work together because unless all of us sing the same song of quality, patient safety, I don't think anything can be moved in this country. So it's very important that we all talk the collective synergy and we work together. And I must really thank all of you for joining us today, despite your busy schedule, your clinic and your other work. And we are really looking forward to listening today. And thanks, Father, for taking the leadership to get all of them together. Thank you so much. Over to you, Father.
Yeah, and now over to Gayatri to welcome our moderator, Dr. Swetha.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Dr. Vijay Agarwal, and thank you, Lalu Joseph, for this. This day is very, very special because we've been trying to congregate for more than a year now. And this day, I really look forward to, from henceforth, that we will all be together and taking this healthcare division forward through the AYUSH hospitals as well. So it's my pleasure today to introduce somebody who's not new to you, the moderator of this session, Dr. Swetha S. Suvarna, who's the medical superintendent of Ayurveda at Aster, Bangalore. Dr. Swetha, thank you so much for being here, first of all, and getting all of them together is such a task, and that has been so smoothly done, and thank you so much, and it's a great start today. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Swetha, who's the Master of Surgery in Stri Roga and Prasuti Tantra, and she's a PhD from Manipal University, the prestigious Manipal University. She's worked as Assistant Professor in SDM College of Ayurveda, Bangalore, and also worked as quality manager in Ramaya Hospital, Ramaya Indic Specialty Ayurveda. Also, she's the scientific committee member and a Panchakarma therapist and Department of Good Clinical Practices for Ayurveda at TDU University. She's also, more than anything else said now, she's the principal NABH assessor for AYUSH, and that makes it very, very interesting for this particular group right now, being the assessment and the NABH point of view. So over to you, Dr. Swetha, to introduce the speakers and take this session forward.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the welcome. I would like to welcome all of you for this session. First of all, would love to thank CAHO for organizing a session among the leaders in AYUSH sector. My special thanks to Father Johnson, Dr. Lallu Joseph, Dr. Vijay Agarwal, Dr. Uma Shankar for planning this session and also being a constant support in organizing the whole event. My thanks to CAHO office team, which has put in a great effort in making this event a reality today. Also, welcome to the CAHO members who are present with us today and who will be joining us shortly. It's my pleasure to be moderating this session, which is among the leaders of AYUSH sector, which is first of its kind. As Sir told, it's a red letter day for all of us. I take a special privilege in interacting with the eminent panelist, Mr. Rajiv Vasudevan. Mr. Rajiv Vasudevan is MD and CEO of Ayurveda Hospitals, which is a chain of inpatient Ayurveda hospitals with a pioneering business model that offers end-to-end protocols, documentation, clinical outcomes-driven medical service. Ayurveda runs 7 inpatient hospitals across India, including 3 located within 3 prestigious quaternary care hospitals in India, where it has successfully demonstrated a pioneering model of integrative care for adjuvant and rehabilitative care for cancer, neuroscience, nephrology, and gynecology. 3 of the 7 Ayurveda hospitals are NABH accredited. 1 is JCI accredited and is included in the scope of service of its JCI accredited host organization. And Ayurveda is one of the first QAI accredited Ayurveda hospital and an integrative transition care center. Ayurveda was one of the first India's NABH accredited Ayurveda hospital. It was the first and the only winner of QCI DL Shah National Quality Award from the Ayurveda sector. It has been selected by Harvard University for its prestigious Anthras program. Ayurveda has been awarded as Ayurveda Center of the Year in 2017 by the Ministry of C&I, Government of India. And recently, Ayurveda has received Pioneer in Integrative Medicine Award from CNBC India, AWS, Minfi. Ayurveda definitely is a pioneer in the accreditation process of AYUSH sector. And Mr. Rajiv Vasudevan is the leader who is leading this institute from the forefront. We would love to hear from you, sir, your experiences and the challenges and the best practices. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Swetha. In the time allotted to me, I will be speaking very fast and I can come back for questions later. But first of all, before I begin my allotted task of speaking on the subject assigned to me, I would want to, first of all, thank the leadership of CAHO for not just what they've done today by bringing all of us together from the AYUSH sector on one platform, all accredited organizations, but also for the relentless focus on bringing accredited healthcare organizations under one forum. It's not that 1 year back we became members, right? We took all our hospitals and became members of CAHO 1 year back. And I thank Ms. Gayatri, Sandeep, and Dr. Lalu Joseph, and Dr. Vijay Agarwal for their consistent interaction and support. And it is a fact that we have been very reluctant members in the sense we have not participated in many of the things which CAHO has been doing, only because we've been going through some growth pangs and we've been suddenly expanding and our calendar has been full. But at this point, my sincere gratitude to CAHO leadership for everything that you have done and continue to do. And thank you for bringing AYUSH into your lens of focus, right? So we see exciting days ahead. Now, quickly coming into accreditation and quality in the AYUSH sector. Let's begin with this term called process-driven Ayurveda, right? Why I bring this up, because I know that the audience is not just the leadership of CAHO or the people who are seen on the screen here, but a lay audience which is interested in looking at what really does accreditation and quality mean for a system which ostensibly to the layman appears to be, how can you bring quality into Ayurveda? Or I will talk about Ayurveda. By Ayurveda, I think automatically you can assume AYUSH because I speak only for Ayurveda. So the part that when I look at process-driven Ayurveda, within Ayurveda, we clarify the following 4 or 5 characteristics, okay, of process-driven Ayurveda. Of course, process is a predefined sequence of steps leading to a particular desired outcome. It has defined inputs and defined outputs, number 1. Number 2, the most important characteristic which I define for my colleagues is role-dependent, person-independent operation, right? So it becomes very clear that, and I would, take advance pardon from the very learned people on the panel here who are here, because some of it might seem very basic, but I think I would still do it for an audience which is trying to get to understand how we bring this into Ayurveda. So person-independent, role-dependent, which means interchangeability of roles. The roles are so clearly defined that people can move from role to role. Number 3 is metrics driven. So Dr. Swetha talked about structure, process, and outcomes, and the outcomes which are structure, process, and clinical outcomes driven. So those SPO indicators that you're talking about, how do I bring that into my operation in Ayurveda, right? So this is eminently possible only with a process-driven approach. Number 4, continuous quality improvement. The moment I have processes defined, automatically the organization learns, and very important for Ayurveda, which has hitherto been seen to be very subjective, very personality-oriented practice of medicine, where you have some big pitamaha, big guru, and only he's got some techniques and nobody else knows how to practice. That is not the way Ayurveda as a knowledge system ever was and is. It is always meant to be a systems-driven knowledge, knowledge framework where anybody who's willing to practice systematic knowledge-based Ayurveda can practice it like the best doctor in the world. Today in modern medicine, whether I go to cardiologist A, B, C, I may like one cardiologist or the other. Does not mean that quality changes from every cardiologist meets a minimum grade of knowledge, right? The same thing we expect in Ayurveda. So this whole impression that some family or families or people have something extra was the bane of Ayurveda, right? So we have to bring how quality comes in. So the continuous quality improvement ensures that a young doctor, unlike modern medicine where I can go to many hospitals where I can learn, where are the gurus where I can come and learn under a senior doctor? And it's very different to work under an individual clinic and then transition to a hospital. Running an inpatient hospital is totally different from running an outpatient center, totally different from running a clinic with a doctor and a pharmacy. So people assume these are all the same, right? But totally different. And you see the difference in maturity of the organization when you have to go to an inpatient care hospital. So where there are no such centers. So if you have to look at a learning organization, you need replicable, standardized processes predefined on which people can learn. So only then scalability is possible. So the last part I wanted to bring in is the fact that a self-regulated organization. If I look at maturity in Ayurveda, it cannot be personality driven so that I just decide something. If I do something wrong in a process-driven organization, somebody else should be able to correct me, telling me, sorry, as per the process, you are deviating. Or as if there is a failure in quality, healthcare quality delivery, I'm able to look at the process before I look at the individual and figure out what is the correction, corrective action, preventive action to be taken. So we move away from a personality-centric framework of Ayurveda medical care to a systems, quality systems, metrics-driven care, number one. Number two, in this context, we have to understand, I'll quickly talk about Ayurveda's journey. Our journey with quality began before we were established. So when we looked at Ayurveda, very often it goes between two straddles. One, that of a products industry, which is selling medicines. On the other hand, it is a resort healthcare wellness industry. Both the places, a very light casual approach. In between, the serious medical care system got completely diluted. So when we talk in Ayurveda itself, what I want to stress is that today, what the best of Ayurveda hospitals do was always there in Ayurveda. That was the way the medical science was always built. Unfortunately, pre-independence, post-independence, we did not have the confidence to present Ayurveda for what it was. The most complete whole person system of healthcare, which has got its own system of patient assessment, examination assessment, signs, symptoms, and going from examination to a framework of of enunciating the disease pathogenesis, how you connect the etiology to the symptoms that are reflected, all in a very structured way, right? So we turned that into a non-science. So now, when we looked at this, one reason that we started the company was we were very clear that Ayurveda is capable of being practiced as a process-driven system. So to tell you, in 2004 December, when I decided to start, that's about 18.5 years back, that we decided to start Ayurveda, it was only because we were convinced that Ayurveda is capable of being process-driven. At that time, as a service, there was no quality standard in India. NABH came to India in October 2005. At that time, I looked and asked for Chikitsa, Ayurveda Chikitsa services, what is the standard? So somebody said there is a standard called JCI. So I downloaded the standard from the internet. Those days it was free to download. Today, I think I have to pay money. So I downloaded the standard, looked at it. And the key thing which I want to convey here, good mature healthcare standards are system agnostic. They are care specific. They are patient centric in terms of the care provided. It is independent of the type of system. Of course, what I do in an OT, what I do in an Ayurveda Kriyakrama Shala, right? That may be different. But the core principles of Ayurveda care is the same, whether care is same, whether I go across systems. So that was a powerful thing. So we started writing our first quality manual in January of 2005, right? 18 years back, before even NABH came to India. October 2005 is when the standard came out, or August or October. And we saw that it was completely modeled on JCI. So we said, wow, wonderful. And the beauty was we're running a small bungalow in Cochin. And we said, can we bring JCI standards? We knew we could never go for accreditation, but can we bring the same SOPs, everything that JCI demands into the small center? Why I bring this up? Quality is size independent. I could have a 5-bed hospital, 10-bed hospital, 20-bed hospital, still practice the highest quality medical care. So people should not think it's only meant for the 500-bed, 200-bed hospital or a small HCO. The same quality standards pertain. So with this, I think 2-3 points quickly. I know I'm running against my time, Dr. Swetha, so I'll be very fast. So when you look at something like, so journey began with JCI, we went to NABH, then again we went for the JCI at Medanta in Delhi, where they were very forward-looking, Dr. Trehan and his quality team, so that we are part of the overall audit process and we got covered under the scope of care. So we are as Dr. Swetha said, we are accredited our Ayurveda Center under JCI scope. Also, subsequently QAI and the National Quality Award in 2012. Now, 2 or 3 key points. In Ayurveda, the average length of stay is about 14 days in our hospitals, as opposed to a typical 3 to 4 days in a modern healthcare hospital. What this immediately does for us is the complexity of quality systems becomes multifold, because I'm not looking at a short length of stay only at operation theater and something, right? Come in, come out, and then nursing care. I'm looking at ensuring evidence-based diagnosis, evidence-based plan of care, evidence-based provision of care, and evidence-based tracking of outcomes, right? Structure, process. How do I achieve all of this in Ayurveda, right? Is it possible? Very much possible. So, and over a 14-day, 21-day, 30-day period. Now, how do I know that I'm doing a therapy, right? Do I have in-process control charts? I would like to tell my esteemed colleagues from the modern medicine quality sector that what came as the control, checklist manifesto from Dr. Atul Gawande maybe about 8-10 years back, right? Ayurveda had checklists 600 BC, right? What we practice today as control charts and what we do are there from shlokas which are enunciated for what we do in the therapy room. How do you know that the patient has progressed from stage A to stage B? You'll be quite amazed to see how a systems thinking paradigm, which is completely documentation driven, is brought into practice, into living practice, right? So this is one part. The other part, when you look at outcomes, a good Ayurveda hospital today has got 2 objectives, and I will come back to this. The first objective is to ensure safety of care. I put that even before giving good clinical outcomes, right? Safety. So how do I ensure safety? Today, particularly whether in a consultation clinic setting or a therapy center or an inpatient hospital, how to ensure safety, particularly with herb-induced liver injury, drug-to-drug interaction, How do I ensure that, right? I need to bring systems. How do I measure efficacy? So for example, in our case, we track efficacy through 5 means. We have 5 approaches to measuring clinical outcomes. Now, we also have to understand that the world is moving towards integrative medicine, right? There is a lot of opposition due to unclear communication by different stakeholders. Integrative medicine is not mixopathy, right? It is not taking one doctor sitting and prescribing multiple types of medicine. It is about multiple specialists in different areas working together in the best interests of the patient, right? Internationally, and India can actually pioneer and show the way. So today, whether I'm talking about adjuvant care for chemotherapy patients or radiation patients in a quaternary care cancer hospital, or we're talking about road traffic accident patient rehabilitation, Ayurveda works seamlessly with enlightened modern medicine doctors. But the point we're talking about here is, and the patient benefits, as we say, modern medicine keeps the patient alive, Ayurveda helps the person to heal, and together they get the person back on feet. So the key point I want to say, CAHO should also be looking at the systems where Dr. Swetha is working as medical superintendent. We do some path-breaking care today. So I'll conclude by telling that when we look at this entire journey of quality in AYUSH systems, expect no less from Ayurveda, right? Expect the same, if not higher, and they are delivering. Many of them deliver, right? And many of the learned organizations are getting more and more into this. I want to just conclude this piece by narrating our quality policy. And this goes back almost 12, 14 years. It's about 14 years old. Ayurveda shall provide informed, safe and affordable medical care based on a standardized, process-driven implementation of Ayurveda medical science, appropriately integrated with modern medicine, fostering a culture of excellence, ownership, and continuous improvement amongst all caregivers. Caregivers at Ayurveda are medical and non-medical. Our front office staff, security staff, managers, all of them are non-medical caregivers. So everybody views themselves as a caregiver, maximizing the probability of positive health outcomes for our patients. So this is the way we have looked at the journey. I, in 2007, got trained as and got I went through the NABH SSO program, and probably I'm the first from the AYUSH sector to qualify for the modern hospital SSO program in 2007 May, right within 16 months or so of the standard being published. And I was fortunate and privileged to be part of the standard setting committee for the NABH Ayurveda hospital standards in 2009. And so this has been something which is a very, very key passion and commitment, because we believe Ayurveda's path to mainstreaming lies in quality standards and accreditation. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to answer questions down the line. Thank you, Dr. Swetha, for indulging me for a few more minutes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for drawing our attention towards the process-driven Ayurveda, as you rightly mentioned. We'll have our next speaker, Professor Dr. J Gangadharan. He is a dynamic and an accomplished Ayurveda Acharya who wears multiple hats with ease. He is a well-known exponent of Ayurveda and an expert of authentic Ayurveda methods of diagnosis, especially the pulse diagnosis, and successfully treats lifestyle disorders. He has a very good administrative background and has a master's in management from McGill University, Canada. He also has a PhD from Tilak Vidyapith, Pune. He has been recognized as a guru for the new Vaidyas by Rashtriya Ayurveda Vidyapith, a National Academy of Ayurveda, New Delhi. He's been the founder director of Ramaya Indic Specialty Ayurveda Restoration Hospital, under whose leadership the hospital underwent an NABH accreditation for 100-bedded facility. He's been instrumental in establishing Center of Excellence for Ayurveda in Bangalore. He's been awarded with many national awards in the field of Ayurveda. He's been a consultant for the Department of AYUSH, DST, NMBP, Government of India. He's been a leader in the research where he has written many publications. He has many publications and has written many books on Ayurveda. Welcome, sir. We're looking forward to hear few of your quality journey and your advices for the accreditation process. Over to you, Dr. Gigi.
Thank you, Dr. Swetha. It was very inspiring to listen to Rajiv as usual, and he has made a very clear-cut, the path he has gone through, because I have been traveling with him at the time of his inception of Ayurveda, so I know how we have come from, what background and what we have, and how he has contributed to the sector, and he was very eager to contribute, and many instances were there with when he wanted me to be part of that kind of a journey. I am happy only because of Swetha I am here, otherwise I would have been, because Swetha is so dear to me, because I have mentored her in many occasions. And I have been instrumental in getting two of good institutions in Bangalore to get NIBH accredited. I volunteered. It was not that we needed that, but we thought that will add more of quality to Ayurveda. One of the observations I always feel that as Rajiv very lightly mentioned, many a time we do not understand the quality perspective so richly embedded in the science of Ayurveda, because we see Ayurveda through few practitioners of today's thing. We don't see the Ayurveda which is actually originally there with its quality consciousness at all levels of its operation. I'll give you just an example. We have this Pada Chadushtayam, which is actually meant for the where the patient is patient-centric, which goes to the physician, which goes to treatment methods and treatment giving persons, and also the drugs which are used for Pada Chadushtayam. It also talks about, when it comes to the treatment part, it talks about the Shuddha Chikitsa. Shuddha Chikitsa is a great concept which has to come into CAHO kind of appreciation, because it talks about when you treat, not only you cure the disease, you should not anyonyam udire, it should not give rise to another disease. And also, if it is Shuddha Chikitsa, it will be qualified as a Shuddha Chikitsa if there is no Abunar Bhavuttam. See, this true concept I am yet to see in modern medicine as a quality standard. So see how far we have gone. We said that I am not happy if my patient is treated today, he goes back home with a clear-cut symptoms. But I don't want to put the seeds of another disease in his body when he leaves. I want to make sure that Shuddha Chikitsa, that's what Charaka says 2000 years back. Have we incorporated that into a standard? Or at least that will be one of our objective or far-reaching objective of the standards that is there. And you see, when you come to the treatment methodologies and its outcome, have you seen anywhere talking about what is Jara Mukta Lakshanam? What is Adhisara Mukta Lakshanam? These are the standards Ayurveda has given. It is written in slogas. So can we incorporate that kind of things into the quality standards? Why I am putting this, bringing to this notice of this forum is that many a time, we try to fit Ayurveda to the modern observational standards. But there is another levels of standards that is there in Ayurveda. Can we take that also into our armpit? That is what is the challenge CAHO has. Don't take Ayurveda for granted. Don't think that Ayurveda does not have anything which has to give, but take from Ayurveda also. One example I can give immediately that when I was leading the NIBH accreditation from the first hospital where I was heading, there was a requirement for keeping each room, each treatment room, one stethoscope and one BP apparatus. I asked the person who is, what do you mean by the person who is treating his hand is full of oils and this thing, and there is no doctor going to be there. Doctor is there, 4 rooms, 1 doctor. What he will do if there is something happens? So we should understand that what is Ayurveda needs. That will be a mere waste of keeping things But if you have a standards of based on Ayurveda, what we need is that whether that room is properly ventilated, whether the temperature of that room is proper for the patients to there for 1 hour. This standard is not yet come, but Ayurveda seeks for that. Whether that room should be air conditioned or not. These are the standards Ayurveda looks from internally. This kind of Ayurvedic perspective has to be brought into standard to give more service to the Ayurveda. Another important thing that Ayurveda talk about is the Amshamsa Kalpana concept of Ayurveda. Taradama Bheda of concept. Taradama Bheda and Amshamsa Kalpana, these two are the most neglected area of Ayurveda. Every treatment when you do, every dravya we take, we look for Amshamsa Kalpana. That's why we got permutation combinations. Rajiv was mentioning that there is no a great Pidamaha sitting and treatment. That Pidamaha has become Pidamaha because he gets into these quality standards which are very subtle and minute, which goes through the process of Amshamsa Kalpana and Taradama Bheda. That is why 6 rasas become 63. So if you don't know, wow, 6 rasas are being divided into 63 conditions and used in different occasions of disease process, we cannot measure the quality of care. Quality of care can be measured when you understand this kind of point. We have got the concept of Shatkriya Kalam. When you have a concept of diagnostic role, can we categorize the Shatkriya Kalam into different areas of disease progress? How we can, that things are told in, objectively told in the text, can you translate into a mechanism where it can be measured by some of the objective methods that is available today? What I mean to say that Ayurveda is we should not be trying to fit a circle into a square. That kind of situation should not be there. It has been discussed in different form by many of us in different times. But I think now it is the right time that let us also get into the Ayurveda method of diagnosis, not only Rogi Parisha and not only Roga Parisha, but all other chadushkas which are told in Ayurveda, how we can incorporate it into the quality standards of Ayurveda care places, Ayurveda hospitals, even wellness centers, other centers also, this is possible. And we should have the elements which are there in Ayurveda, different point of places, that should be brought into one place, and this should be used as one of the tools to measure the quality standards of Ayurveda. I think that is very important if Ayurveda has to be captured. Otherwise, many a time what will become is that it should not become a burden. It should become a facilitator to improve the quality. As told by Father before that, the accreditation is only starting point. And we should feel that this starting point has helped us to become more capable of giving a better service. For that, elements from Ayurveda has to be assimilated to the process of documentation process and other things. And we should feel at home that, yes, this is something to do with the Ayurveda science. I think this is in very, very nutshell I have to say about this program. I'll be happy to be part of the discussion when time arises. I know that my time is, Swetha's face tells that my time has come to more, but I am happy to be part of this. But this is in nutshell I want to say that there is a method, there is a process, and there is a scope in Ayurveda, which properly understood can become the documentation tool for any kind of accreditation, any kind of quality control. We should not ignore and put into systems which are aligned to Ayurveda to measure its quality standards. Thank you, Swetha. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure to hear you. And really happy to see the concept of you bringing in the concept of Shuddha Chikitsa, which is the very first, maybe the first of its kind to talk about the patient safety. So, which is always there and documented in Ayurveda. Yes, patient safety was our prime outcome measure for whatever the service we are providing in Ayurveda. Thank you for highlighting that, sir. Let me introduce our third speaker, Mr. K.S. Biju Prasad, sir. He's an Executive Director and CEO of Sridhariyam Ayurveda Group. Biju Prasad sir is an alumni of Regional Engineering College, Calicut, and he heads the largest Ayurveda eye hospital in the country. He is a founder member of Sridhariyam Ayurveda Group, which had its origin in 1999 and is setting up, and he has been instrumental in setting up of Ayurveda Eye Hospital. Under his leadership, the hospital has grown from 8-bedded facility to 342-bedded NABH accredited facility. He's been, under his leadership, the hospital has achieved many other accreditation as ISO accreditation and a certification from Intertech UK and IO Diamond certification from Department of Tourism, Government of Kerala. The Sridhariyam Research and Development Institute headed by him is involved in the clinical research related to Ayurveda drugs and treatment modalities. The R&D Institute is recognized as the Center of Excellence in Ayurveda Ophthalmology by the Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India. Sridhariyam has 22 branches in many cities across country. The branches comprises of OP centers, IP branches. As the CEO, he has been instrumental in development of all these centers and the growth activities of the group. He's been a part of the continuous quality improvement in the areas of infrastructure as well as service in Sridhariyam Hospital. We would love to hear from you, sir, about the details on the operational challenges and the challenges you faced in implementing the standards and the best practices that you have adopted in your hospital. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Swetha. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thanks to CAHO for arranging this wonderful session. Actually, this is the first of its kind in AYUSH sector, arranging a meeting with CAHO. So I'm also very much excited to be a part of this. In fact, Rajiv Vasudevan, he is my friend, and he has given a detailed view about this quality standards to be implemented in Ayurveda. And I am also supporting him for that, because I am following him in all this administrative and quality aspects. No, he was the first person to Ayurveda was the first hospital to go for the certification, and I think we are third or fourth. So seeing him, I actually went for the certification. Actually, because as I'm an engineer actually, so our aim was to bring some technology or some quality standards to this Ayurvedic sector. So maybe I don't want take much time for this time. I will just go through the PPT, because I can share my views, I can share my experience. Dr. Swetha, can you share the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I would like to share our experience during our accreditation journey. Next slide, Swetha. Then challenges that we faced, benefits we gained, suggestions to HCOs aiming for accreditation, challenges ahead, and our wish list. Our journey. In fact, we started the preparations in August 2011, and we received this prestigious NABH accreditation in August 2012, exactly after 1 year of hard work. Currently, we are in the 4th cycle. These are the few challenges that we overcame. Maybe everybody will be knowing this, but no, I will just want to share all these things. Team setting. Initially, that was a challenge we faced. As we all know, building of a core team, identifying persons with passion, selling the idea, and getting them on board is a big challenge in major projects. We were able to successfully overcome this hurdle. Then second one is the molding, change of mindset. Molding the mindset of the employees by getting them changed from a semi-structured way to a structured way of working. Earlier in the Ayurveda, you know, the working was not a structured, but we were able to successfully make it in a structured way of working. Then documentation. Documenting everything and leaving nothing to chance. structural standards. As everybody knows, Ayurveda architecture, no, there are all traditional buildings. So getting standard safety standards, changing to safety standards was a very challenge. So the modification to in the traditional architecture to meet the requirements as per standards was very challenge, and we were able to successfully implement that standards. Then manpower development. By this I mean training staff to adopt and practice the NABH way of working. It is entirely different, no? This working in as per the NABH standard. Then setting of KPI. Not only setting of parameters that are customized to our system of operations, but also putting them to use for measuring our performance. Next slide. These are some benefits actually we attained with NABH certification. Creating a system-oriented approach. Through well-defined policies and procedures as per standards, we were able to develop a system-driven approach across all our areas of operation. Then second one is quality upgradation and continuous improvement. Improvement in sense of quality of patient care, patient safety, improved working and personal health conditions of staff were gained. Then compliance with all statutory requirements. Meeting all the statutory requirements so that the HCO is safeguarded. This is ensured through a tracker system and periodic review. Then increased flow of patients. In fact, during the time of inception of NABH accreditation, our bed strength was 200 beds in 2012. And in a span of 5 years, we had to increase the bed strength to 342. So we are sure that NABH accreditation had a vital role in raising the confidence level of patients and thereby increasing the flow rate. Still, we are in the process of increasing the bed strength further. Then comfort of external parties like insurance companies, CGHS, ECHS, etc. Next one. A system for benchmarking and measurement of our own performance through KPIs. This helps us to assess ourselves and improve continuously. Then this is some of the success mantras. No, this is some suggestions to new HCOs who are going for the accreditation. So take your team into confidence, communicate the benefits, make believe it is our need, keep staff motivated, make quality a part of our daily routine. Do not cut on essential investment. The benefits outweigh the cost. Then basically finally and lead by example. Then I would like to share some challenges ahead. Balancing quality with rising costs incurred by HCOs. In fact, being a service sector, balancing cost-effective care with high-quality services remains an ongoing challenge. Then second one is sustainability and environmental responsibility. As you all know, the increasing global focus on reducing carbon footprints, infrastructure required for this promoting eco-friendly initiatives has a major impact on cost parameters that has to be looked into. Then digital health and telemedicine. Ensuring high-quality healthcare through virtual consultations is a major challenge because outcome expectations are the same in direct face-to-face consultation as well as in the online consultations. These are some of the expectations we would like to put forward with NABH. International accreditation for Ayurveda. As the credibility and recognition of Ayurveda is increasing globally, having an internationally recognized benchmark for quality and standardization makes it easier for Ayurveda and Ayurvedic practitioners to obtain respect and acceptance in foreign countries. Second one is the benefits for the accredited HCOs, add-on benefits. For example, if it can be recognized as a training center, we can develop more qualified human resources. Then disease-wise, scope of accreditation based on research activities. In fact, if a specialty hospital that is NABH accredited, and if it meets specific eligibility requirements based on some research programs, then it can be considered a certified center for the specific specialty provided. This will provide a better value and recognition to the HCOs. Then health information exchange and interoperability. nowadays the concept of holistic healthcare is coming into picture. No? So developing protocols for collaboration between various healthcare systems will be more value to the system. This will ensure better coordination, reduction of medical errors, and enable data-driven research through better communication to deliver excellent patient care. Then grading. Grading system or excellence certification can be implemented for HCOs based on the number of accreditation cycles completed. These are some of the expectations we have thought. So with this, I will conclude my presentation here. Thank you. Back to Swetha.
Thank you, sir. It was really inspiring to know from your discussion that communication has been the key mantra that helped you in achieving the accreditation and the quality process and overcome the challenges that you had by motivating the team, and basically which says that communication has been the key. Thank you, sir. And also thank you for showing a wish list. Yes, this would be our way forward to work in terms of quality and accreditation in AYUSH sector.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm introducing our fourth speaker for the day. Dr. Mruthyunjaya Swamy is a managing director of Shatayu Ayurveda and Yoga Retreat, Bangalore. Dr. Mruthyunjaya Swamy is an energetic and a visionary doctor who owns the brand Shatayu, which is promoting wellness for more than 122 years now. It has 3 verticals: Shatayu Ayurveda Clinic, Shatayu Herbals, and Shatayu Ayurveda Yoga Retreat. Dr. Mruthyunjaya Swamy has completed 25 years of his practice in Bangalore. He started Center of Excellence in Obesity and Weight Management in Bangalore and started effective management of weight loss and other lifestyle disorders. He has conducted several Ayurveda awareness classes for the international students, have given several radio talks in USA about Ayurveda for the lifestyle disorders. He's presented research paper on efficacy of Ayurveda medicine in diabetes mellitus. He is he writes regularly articles in some of the known daily newspapers such as Indian Express and Times of India. Has 2 publications to his name: Ancient Secrets of Healthy Living and Ancient Secrets of Reverse Diabetes. Dr. Mruthyunjaya Swamy, thanks for being a part of the discussion today, sir. Over to you to highlight the process of accreditation and quality journey in a wellness sector of AYUSH. Dr. Mruthyunjaya Swamy.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Swetha. Thank you, CAHO, for making this possible to gather all the Ayurvedic stalwarts in one place. So I want to start with one thing. Like, everyone thinks that every Ayurveda fraternity knows that there is a quality standards required, there is a protocols required, SOPs required, and there are so many things happening in Ayurvedic invention. Everyone knows. I'm not telling about the general public. I'm telling only about Ayurvedic doctors itself. Trust me, the people whom I interact, so-called Ayurvedic doctors, don't know so many things. So CAHO, the step what you have taken today, I think this is one of the best steps I appreciate, because this is the industry, especially AYUSH industry, requires a lot of insight. Okay, only few people, like, for example, Sridhar is there, Dr. Rajiv is there, like people like us, some very few people, they chose quality over quantitative of Ayurveda. But it requires approach to a lot of people. Okay, and this is a right step you have taken. I want to stay, you can put my presentation while I'm talking, only first, let it be the first slide. See, when I started my first clinic in 1998 in Bangalore, lot of people used to come and ask, where is the doctor? Me sitting there, they have to come and ask me, myself, that where is the doctor? Means people perception is, even today Ayurveda means the people who are too old, who have a lot of experience, They think that they know some traditional science, that's traditional secrets, which only those people know it. That was the thing which used to happen earlier with Ayurveda, but not now. That is not the case, because especially after the COVID, people understood one thing. They're not bothered about which system is treating, which science is treating. They want only the result. Whether it's allopathy, Ayurveda, homeopathy, or AYUSH, or Ayurveda, whatever may be. They want the end of the day, they want only the result. So with that point of view, when I started in 1998 practicing Ayurveda, my main focus was only one thing. See, people have trust on Ayurveda, but something is missing. Deliverables are missing, because they are going only to few people. People got result, few people didn't get the result, and they disappointed and they started cursing Ayurveda and the whole system of medicine, rather than thinking what was going wrong with the person who is administering Ayurveda. So then I decided in 1998, let me start this brand called Shatayu, where I want to give Ayurveda in a very, very precise, polished way to the people, in a more scientific way, research way, and result-oriented way. That is how I started. Then we started doing a lot of, you won't believe, like the way Rajiv said, in 1998, when I just finished the college, I started my clinic, I started searching ISO certification, because I thought some certification model is available with ISO at that time. So we took a lot of things from them, we took their consultation, we prepared the models, we prepared the SOPs. Then we prepared a lot of protocols. For example, diabetes. See, everyone is saying, I will cure, I will cure, I will cure, but nobody knows the standard protocol. You take any disease in Ayurveda. So I found out there were a lot of missing links were happening. Then we created the protocols, SOPs. Then we understood, yes, this quality awareness has to be brought for Ayurvedic graduates, Ayurvedic practitioners. So that anyway people have a trust on Ayurveda, only we have to bridge the gap. And this accreditation process, especially this quality assurance, these protocols, these SOPs, will definitely make sure that we can implement Ayurveda in a better format, the way now a lot of brands are doing that. So from that point, I started my clinic, then we started establishing it, then we went into a franchise model. We gave a lot of SOPs, protocols and all. You go to any clinics, you will get the same standard set of treatments, same standard protocol of medicines, results, then taking the testimonials and all those things. We started with the documentation process. One thing I want to add on here is, like Shatayu, actually it started in 1901 with my great-grandfather. I used to observe him a lot. He was very, very quality conscious. More than the implementing in hurry, he was more quality conscious and giving the result-oriented stuff. Then later what happened, my father studied MBBS. He being an allopathy doctor, he started practicing Ayurveda. These two people, my grandfather and my father, brought me only one thing. See, one thing is missing in Ayurveda is the quality and the proper protocols, and nobody is following the SOPs properly. Why can't you do that? With that background, we started Shatayu, and to one extent, we became successful. Then when we were seeing the success of Ayurveda and all from Rajiv and all, he was the one who gave me this one, that why can't you go for the NABH accreditation? When we were doing, then we understood the value of accreditation process for especially our science. Because it is so beautiful, so well established treatment protocols are there. Only thing we have to formulate it well and present it well and give it to the people and get the results. That's the only thing we have to do. See, so many times, a lot of doctors, they say, you have to do a lot of research in Ayurveda. There is no evidence-based treatments and all those things. It's not true. Only thing, we are unable to collect the evidences when we are giving the treatments. That is one thing we have established to one extent once these accreditation processes came. So that is how we started. And the biggest thing, the benefits, what happens if we go for accreditation is, okay, the first and foremost thing everyone wants is the patient care and patient safety. You go to any Ayurvedic hospital, you ask any of your colleagues or your cousins or anybody, you ask what is Ayurveda means, they say that stinking smell of that oil. Okay, so means we are not giving importance to the patient care. and patient safety. So many times we have seen so many clinics where there is a slippery floors and all those things. So once we go for this accreditation process, we will understand what is the importance of giving importance to the patient safety and care. And the second thing is the credibility and trust increases a lot. The moment you say that you are accredited, people acceptance, people perception of that particular brand itself will change. Because we get a lot of foreigners here. The moment they say that it's NABH accredited, they won't even think twice. Just they will get admitted, take the treatment and go back. So that credibility and trust increases. And the main thing is efficient management, especially from the management level also. We don't know so many times. See, we as a management, just now, this one, Biju Prasad was telling, like we being an engineer, like we made a hospital and all he was telling. So once we bring these protocols in place or these accredited documentation in process, even the management for them efficiently to manage the whole hospital will be very, very easy. Along with that international recognition, there is no doubt the moment they see the accreditations, they always believe in the accreditation. So that will happen. The next thing is research and development. It will be very, very easy for us. You won't believe the moment we got a NABH accreditation, there is one doctor from UK. He's a very, very famous cardiologist. Now we are doing one research in reversing the cardiac blocks. So he's so much fascinated towards our treatment and he saw the results. This happened only because of we went for this NABH accreditation. He thought that these people are serious players in the market. So these research and development will get an excellent platform. Even now we are going for a type 2 diabetes reversal program. In an advanced stage, we are doing a research. Along with that, all the health insurance coverages. So many Ayurvedic doctors don't know that Ayurveda is covered under health insurance. So this happens if you are NABH accredited. Please, next one. The next only one thing I want to tell is the challenges what we are facing being a Ayurvedic doctors, Ayurvedic professionals, when we are going for the accreditation. It will be little bit insight for even CAHO people, because for you, allopathy doing will be very, very easy. But when it comes to the AYUSH, you won't believe our AYUSH officer, so-called, he will be the heading the whole district. He don't know the KPME registration formulations of those things, whether this is required or not required. So that is the level of education even our higher authorities have. So we have to first bring the awareness from there, then our doctors will be prepared to get into accreditation thing. And integrating AYUSH with modern standards. Please don't expect to be like exactly the way modern science works, like modern allopathy hospital works, because there is a different standard set in AYUSH. So we have to bring the gap. We have to bridge that gap and slowly we bring to the modern standards. Then only it is possible to make it. Otherwise, it's the biggest challenge what we are facing. And the next one is the lack of standardization. See, some people start massage from head, some people start with the toe. Some people start from the front, some people start from the back. So we have to, there is a lack of standardization. Once we all sit together, if we make the formulations, it will be very, very easy to do it. The next thing is training and awareness. Because AYUSH being a very, very unorganized sector, bringing the standardization is a very tough task. I think CAHO may help to one extent to all of us to bring this standardization in one place. And the financial constraint, because there are a lot of small clinics which are slowly coming back to 6-bed, 10-bed, 20-bed hospital and all. There is a financial constraint which they are facing, but then it's not a big challenge there. And limited research and evidence, because everyone is treating, but they're not documenting. Documentation is the problem here. So if we keep doing those things and we keep projecting evidences, then the accreditation will be very easy for us. And the regulatory compliances will be very, very, very tough, because there are thousands of people I'm not telling about the NABH accreditation. I'm telling the basic license what required is KPME for NABH accreditation. The KPME process itself for AYUSH is very, very tough. If we involve even in the administrative level also, and we educate them, then the accreditation will be very, very easy for us. And this is the need of the hour for this era now. So we have to be well prepared to get into the accreditation at the earliest. Thank you for providing me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your experiences, and also appreciate the importance that you stressed on SOPs, that is the operating protocols, standard operating protocols that are very important towards the journey of quality, and also on highlighting the process of statutory compliances. Let us go on to our next speaker of the day, Dr. J Jeyavenkatesh, who is the chairman of Kokila Siddha Hospital and Research Center, Madurai, which is an accredited, NABH accredited facility in Madurai. He is a well-known Siddha physician with a PhD in Siddha medicine. He is a principal assessor for NABH AYUSH sector. He is a vivid researcher with several publications to his credit, has been an expert member in the Central Council of Indian Medicine, has been a member in NCISM, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India, has published 24 books in Siddha system of medicine, which is a teaching material for the undergraduate and the postgraduate students. And he has received Tamil Nadu State Government Award 2 times. Welcome, sir. We would love to hear from you the Siddha perspective in AYUSH sector on the accreditation process.
Thanks, Dr. Swetha. First of all, my opportunity to thank CAHO for this wonderful session. And I very much inspired with Dr. Rajiv Vasudevan. Already I know about him as an NABH assessor, and Dr. Gangadharan sir, and Mr. Biju Prasad, and Dr. Mruthyunjaya. I am very much interested in accreditation and the quality process, and I joined the NABH assessors course in 2009. First, I start my practice in 1997 in a small OPD center, and just improved as the IPD center in 2011 and applied for NABH accreditation. In my thing, it is a very challenge in my Siddha system, because all the texts, all the procedures, and all are in Tamil for the accreditation process, and we met very difficulty to translate, and we translated more than 6,000 pages from Siddha texts to develop a manual. This is the very difficult challenge in Siddha, because less books are in English regarding Siddha system of medicine. In 3rd century, I am inspired with some one verse in Siddha text in Tamil book, in published written in 4th century. That one verse, Veyyun Kadiruli Visuvali Nulaya, Irumbani Petra, Varumpani Padagal, மேற்புறம் அமைந்த விலங்குமணி வேயல் யாப்புரு மண்டப தாசன கிரி கோப்புரு விழுக்கல மேத்துவனர் காட்டி கணமணி முடியும் கதிர் முத்தாரமும் இளமணி பூணுகே வட்டமும். This is a Tamil verse. It explains how kings, Raja treated in their palace. There is a separate room for kings to treat them. It is very much similar with modern operation theater. So I am very inspired with this verse, and I started my quality journey in Siddha system of medicine. Dr. Swetha, please show my PPT. Now we have 2 Siddha hospitals. Both are accredited by NABH. One is 60-bedded hospital and another one is 10-bedded hospital. Next. I am the working as chairman Kokila Siddha Hospital, and already Dr. Swetha told about this. Next. Praying Lord Agastya is the father of Siddha medicine. The following accreditation and certifications are required for healthcare organization: NABH, JCI, SQA, and BIS, IPHS, NQAS, and ISO. Next. What are the benefits of accreditation? AYUSH sector should come forward to get accreditation it shows improved level of community confidence and trust. Already Dr. Mruthyunjaya told about that. Safety and quality into focus. Dr. Vasudevan told about roadmap for standardization, patient-centered culture. Dr. Swetha discussed about it. Systems-oriented approach. It's very important. Every system has different type of approaches, and we should document it. And improved patient satisfaction level. Then only we can improve the patient strength and improved health outcomes by assessing key quality propensity indicators and external recognition, enhanced reputation of the patients, and insurance coverage. These are the benefits of accreditation, and many HCO from AYUSH should come forward to get accreditation. Whether we should be strong on whether it is a proprietary hospital or partnership or trust or society or teaching institution or others, it should be defined, and affiliation with government bodies, universities, Ministry of AYUSH, Department of Indian Medicine, and State Department, and Department of Public Health or others. And some licenses and shops establishment, clinical establishment act, whatever it may be, according to the law. Next. The quality care is documented procedure for pain assessment, reassessment, including mitigation technique and monitoring, pain rating scale, identify the clinically vulnerable patients and stop responsible for identifying them, screening and examination of food handler at prescribed interval. These are the quality care we are following in our hospital. Next. Next. Our vision is to give you a good quality Siddha treatment, which is equal to all the patients should be delivered in the same manner and equal to global standard. Next. A mission statement, it defines the company's business, its objective, and its approach to reach those objectives, to give you a quality Siddha treatment in all the people, and to start a teaching institution in our place. Next. In our policy statement, we define all the methods, what we are prescribing medicine, what we are manufacturing our drugs, and how it is acceptable to all the patients. And we developed a lot of policy according to the standards which is mentioned in Siddha system of medicine and appropriate to the defined therapies. We developed a lot of procedures in our hospitals. It mainly on like Ayurvedic Panchakarma. We have 32 external therapies. We developed a lot of order, definite order in our work to manage the therapies. We developed a manual in which many things in our hospital, that is what is the owner of the hospital and scope of services, how many departments in our hospital and the functions of the departments, and clinical and non-clinical standards, and all the details about our employees and the continuous quality improvement. So we developed a complete manual in Siddha system of medicine for quality management system. In Siddha, we have following scope of services. Next. Next. Previous. 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 Next. 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 We have Podu Maruthuvam and Siddha Gunapadam, Sirappu Maruthuvam, and Pura Maruthuvam. These are special branches in Siddha system of medicine. Next. And Varma is the one of the part of special medicine, and Yoga is the one of part of Siddha special medicine, and Noinadal, that is pathology in Siddha, and Kulandai Maruthuvam, that is pediatric department, Magalir Maruthuvam, that is gynecology and obstetrics, Sool Maruthuvam, that is obstetrics, and Nanji Maruthuvam is toxicology, and leech therapy and coronal therapy. These are the special therapies available in Siddha system of medicines. Next. And what are the unavailable services in Siddha hospital? It's emergency services, oxygen trauma, obstetrics, neonatal, and pediatrics. It was well defined in our hospital. The future depends on what you do on today. So even though Siddha is the minority and it is mostly dominant in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, we are the pioneer and pioneer for quality march in Siddha system of medicine. Thanks for giving an opportunity for this organization. Swetha introduced myself, and I am very much interested in future to join the hands with CAHO. Thank you, Dr. Swetha.
Thank you, sir, for introducing us to the Siddha system of assessment and the details of Siddha system. Next speaker for the day is Dr. Prasanna Kakunje, who is a practitioner of Ayurveda and wellness. He's an accomplished Ayurveda Vaidya and a spa and wellness consultant. He has dedicated his life in the field of Ayurveda, healthcare and wellness. He is an MD in Kaya Chikitsa and is also a part of running a Ayurveda wellness center, which is Gamya Retreat at Kumta. He has a passion for research and teaching and has done a very extensive work in standardization of the human resource for Ayurveda care. That is what most of our speakers have been speaking about, standardization of the procedures and standardization of the human resource. Let's hear from our next speaker. Welcome, sir. Over to you.
Namaste. Good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And when I heard from Dr. Swetha that there is an accreditation possibility and it's possible to bring in more of practice standards in the field of Ayurveda, I was more than happy. And I've been observing since I started studying Ayurveda, I would say. And I started practicing Ayurveda from 2002 when I completed my BA/MS, and then I got some opportunity to enter into hospitality industry from the hospitals. That is when I realized, okay, this can be practiced in this manner as well, where the first problem I used to observe was when I approach an Ayurvedic clinic or a center, the doctor himself or herself will not be willing to take a treatment in their own clinic or hospital, because they are not very sure about the quality or the, especially the hygiene and cleanliness of the facility. So the doctor himself will be going to some other better facility to take treatment when they want to take a treatment. Then I understood, okay, there is a lacuna, and getting into hospitality gave me more insights and experience how we can make it better. That's how since 2007, I am into hospitality, bringing hospitals into hospitality, hospitality into hospitals. So combining both, because the only difference in the spelling is ITY from hospital to hospitality, I see. And I say that ITY is I thank you. When the patient feels good, he will say that because of your hospitality in this patient care, I thank you. That is what I wanted to bring in. So that's how I would like to introduce my introduction into hospitality and hospitals. So I'm a practical man, and I believe in simplifying things, keeping life also very simple. I would like to bring into your notice a few factors which I observed. And the topic given to me today is about caregivers like therapists and nursing staff, how to bring in standardization into them. And this was very good opportunity for me to talk about it, because I'm practically facing this challenge in my practice, in my centers and all that. Whenever we hire therapists, they'll be trained in some hospital or clinic, let's say. And when they come into our center, which is of a very good standard, and sometimes it will be a 5-star facility also, it's very difficult to take them directly and give them to our patients and guests, because they don't know how to behave, how to talk, all these fine skills, they'll be missing from them. a lot of Ayurveda professionals, including doctors, will be missing this fine skill of proper communication, explaining things properly, and convincing the patient with the proper explanation, scientific explanation of why they have to undergo this process, why we are doing this, and those things are missing in them. So I tried wherever possible to train them. And then we usually take 2 to 3 months to retrain them to our standards. So that is like takes a lot of time and effort and pain. By the time we train them, maybe like now the industry is growing, and so there is a lot of demand for therapists. Someone else will poach them for 1,000 rupees extra or something, So the therapist will fly again. They will go to some other center. And then again, we hire the new people, and then we have to train them again. This becomes a pain when there is no standard that we hire them and straight away put them to work. That won't be possible when we are running a standard center, a proper center. So if there is a benchmark and training standards in training the therapists and all the personnel related to this, then it would be much easier to run a facility, and also we can mutually exchange also. I don't have any complaint that my therapist is taken and working in some other clinic or center. I don't definitely have any problem, but the other way should also be easier, so that I can hire somebody from another clinic and they should be ready to work to our standards. So it has been a subjective thing until now, that my standards are different from another clinic standard. So that is where a basic benchmark has to be set. And if that is possible through accreditation and platforms like CAHO, then I'll be more than happy to join my hands and make it a possibility. And another thing, it may not be related to therapists as such, but there are a lot of centers in the name of Ayurveda massage, Ayurveda treatment. They are running their centers where there is not even a doctor, and the people running it are not from any kind of Ayurveda proper standardized training background. So I think you are understanding what I'm pointing at. There are so many centers, therapy centers, massage centers in the name of Ayurveda they are running, and not even a basic care is given, basic standards are followed. And a lot of times they end up doing unethical and illegal practices also. So that is bringing a bad name to any Ayurvedic center. And that is the first thing I would request all of you to make sure and join hands in curbing. Nobody should be misusing the word Ayurveda treatment or Ayurveda massage. And definitely advertising in the name of Ayurveda and spoiling the name should be curbed at the earliest, before it goes beyond our control. And like I say, a certification should not be limited to just certification. It should be a continual process. We have to do that annually, like they should be revised, and maybe like how the doctors are given credits for the continued medical education and things like that. Our therapists should also be retrained and also given refresher trainings annually or biannually, or however it may suit practically. And also, like we all see that PUC for the vehicles, pollution under control certificates are there. Even if your vehicle is not optimally maintained and if there is a lot of smoke emitted by your vehicle, but if you have that paper, that certificate is with you, then you are free to go. But if you are missing the certificate, even if your car is new, 6 months old, and there is nothing, no pollution from that vehicle, if there is no certificate, you are fine. That should not be the situation I'm requesting you all. Accreditation should not be limited to a paperwork that you have a certificate, but you don't follow any standards. If that is the case, then it's of no use. There is no point of all these exercises. That's my request. Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm open to discuss. So all the questions and answers, I believe I didn't take more than 5 minutes allotted me. Thank you. Thank you, wonderful.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for highlighting the accreditation. It is good to be quality driven and not act of the day. Introducing our next speaker, Mr. Thaomunglung Chukhrungfa, has been a hospital management administrator for the last 20 years, starting his career as a training level to currently leading an organization as a chief executive officer. His association has been with Max Healthcare, CK Birla, and GNRC group of hospitals as a hospital manager and is currently leading Nature Cure and Yoga Center. He's a continuous learner and has been a healthcare management student with a post-graduation in hospital management, Sigma 6 Black Belt, CPQIH and CAHO, and an alumni of Indian School of Business with advanced management for healthcare. He has been participating in key roles in NABH accreditation for the 7 hospitals during his career. He is here to talk about the accreditation process in a naturopathy and a yoga perspective. Over to you, sir.
You're muted.
Good evening, everyone. My sincere thanks to the CAHO leadership, starting from Dr. Vijay Agarwal, sir. In front of him, I'm still a kid because I had started my career under his leadership in Max Healthcare. So also Lalu Joseph ma'am and eminent speakers present here. I would like to actually come with a story of this institution of Nature Cure Yoga Center to draw a quality journey and significance and importance of healthcare delivery system and quality aspect of it. Why is it required for these kind of institutions? And also with a great resonance of what our eminent speakers have already discussed, starting with respected panelists, Mr. Rajiv, Mr. Biju, and then Ganeshan sir, everybody. So here's a huge resonance with me, what I want to bring onto the table today for discussion with Nature Cure and Yoga Center as a story to tell you. So also my transformation from a modern hospital manager to a leadership role here in Nature Cure and Yoga Center to take this organization from a good organization to a great organization. There's so much of resonance when you talk about the healthcare journey or the healthcare delivery systems. Today, when I was really finding it interesting, the checklist manifesto, Atul Gawande is speaking about the checklist that is required for delivering care, bringing in excellence to the care delivery systems. So starting with quickly to give you the Nature Cure and Yoga Center as a background to how this system has been improving, how the system has been striving for taking this organization from a good organization to a great organization. This organization was established in 1962, back in 1962 by Morarji Desai, then Finance Minister of India. And then this institution over the period of time has been going with up and down with the socio-political economic condition of the state and the region. And then this had been a benchmark also as an educational institute to impart so many yoga, naturopathy, Ayurveda, and this kind of disciplinary trainings to a lot of healthcare delivery providers, I mean clinicians at that point in time, starting from 1962. So over the period of time, there's been changes, and then when you talk about the quality journey of our nation, India starts with NABH starting point, and then the Ministry of Health and Welfare, Family Welfare taking newer steps to go for registration of organizations, to take the institutions to the greater umbrella under the Clinical Establishment Act. So the story is that this institution, despite of having so much of repute, so much of respect, so much of contribution in terms of creating the professionals who've been delivering healthcare for so many long time, has not been able to get along with the time to get onto NABH accreditation or an institution of repute under the registration, under the clinical registration Clinical Establishment Act registration. So as a hospital manager, I participated in the process 2.5 years back, and Dr. Sandeep is there. We had, while coming here as a CPQIH trainer, great thanks to Dr. Lalu, ma'am. I had been trained under her for getting the training for certified professional for quality implementation in hospital. And I started taking part right away saying, ma'am, we're going to get the institution started for NABH track. Then there was this checklist started, as I was mentioning, Atul Gawande to talk about how we can actually deliver care and how can we improve the quality systems. The point there came as that this institution first required is the registration as a healthcare organization. So the whole start, the 2.5 years of time today, starting from the pollution control to the fire and safety, to trade licenses, to the logo that you are seeing in the screen has to be registered under the trademarks and the copyright. All those activities been done. We are now blessed with also the guidance of our healthcare leaders over here in Kolkata, that we have now been registered as a healthcare institution under the Clinical Establishment Act. May 7 has been given as a recognition as an institution. So now my point over here is to come as those challenges that faced for last 2.5 years. Dr. Gayatri Sandeep is in fact witnessing this, because we had created a WhatsApp group then to have the process started for registration, and at least to bring in some kind of standardizations in the processes, in the systems and care delivery processes, as to have the evidence-based and the standardized delivery system for care. Now, the challenge over here, over 2.5 years, my story tells that in order to, probably this is not my lone story to talk about the institutions are facing, and also carrying the experience of healthcare accreditation, starting from Devki Devi Hospital when I was working under Dr. Vijay Agarwal. With due respect, which 2003-2004, we had started to process and have those systems implemented. And these differences between this institution and the modern healthcare delivery systems falls as we have the management of medication in a modern hospital. Here we have to look at the management of treatment as a chapter. So when you talk about again the human resource management with the traditional approach and the ashram-like approach of having the system delivered, as we said, Maharaja and then the chief physician, what we say, used to dictate the process policies and terms which runs as a culture, as a system. So when we talk about the standard operating protocols, when we talk about the manuals, when we talk about those objective elements, those chapters to align with probably AAC, accessibility, quality of care, continuity of CQI, the continuity improvement of quality, the HRM. Sorry, I'm running really fast in order to cover up with the time. So those are to be implemented here has been a great challenge now. So my point onto the table today to all my seniors here is that how can we progress? We have the intent. We have the great intent to contribute to the great health care system as to have an integrative approach. The integrative medicine is a term right now today we are talking, and which has got great significance. There's a shift which we require from the disease or to addressing as a patient, as a case, to a human body. It requires great importance. Corona has taught us, and we have been learning across our total healthcare delivery systems, the problems of giving the universal health coverage to have it covered for all of our nation is a great challenge ahead in front of us. At the same time, and in reality, from the institutions like us to have it progressed to the level that we are accredited, we are following those standards which actually assures that there is zero error. We are not creating error. And there's also significance of delivering care with the digitization today come into play, the artificial intelligence come into play, and the quality journey to take forward. So with this, I would, I'm in fact, new kid in the town to really come and also with in front of all the eminent speakers here. I would seek your advice to, in fact, to take this institution ahead for quality accreditation and the quality implementation for greater delivery of to contribute to the National Health Index, in fact, from the community level, in fact, from shifting from the curative aspect to probably the promotive healthcare to take participate and contribute to the greater impact, creating a greater impact in the National Health Index. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for bringing us the concept of naturopathy and yoga aspect of the AYUSH sector and the challenges that the sector is facing in terms of implementation of the statutory standards and many other standards, as you mentioned. Let me introduce our next speaker for the day, Dr. Prasan Shankar. He is a medical director at IAIM Healthcare Center, Bangalore, which is a 100-bedded NABH accredited Ayurveda hospital. Dr. Prasan Shankar is an accomplished Ayurveda physician working in the Rasayana Tantra unit of Institute of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine, TDU University. He treats various neurological and neurodegenerative diseases and supportive cardiac care and age-related problems. He has an interest in doing research around the practice and is involved in research-related activities in Ayurveda, has many publications to his credit, has some of the outstanding awards in the field of Ayurveda. Welcome, Dr. Prasan. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Swetha, eminent members of CAHO, eminent panelists. I think I'm one of the youngest speakers here today. So it's a great opportunity to share our thoughts on this forum. I have a presentation, but I think we've already overshot the time, so I will I'll just talk considering that time is short. So the hospital was inaugurated in 2011. Our health center rather was inaugurated in 2011 by it was seeded by the Tata Trusts and was inaugurated by Ratan Tata in 2011. And of course, we have come a long way since then. And in our manual, we have defined, and this has evolved in the last few years. We have defined our vision and mission. And I think these two are extremely important because they drive the kind of decisions that we make in the course of time. So our vision is innovative, integrative healthcare for homes, communities, and institutions. And for each of these aspects, whether it is institution, this is an institution. So how do we innovate in terms of integrative healthcare is a vision, and how do we translate that vision into action is something that's extremely important, and that's the endeavor, and that's the goal, and the path that we try to move forward in. And we have 11 years of history in that regard, and we are trying to move forward in that regard. And when you talk about innovative, integrative healthcare for homes, we're also looking at communities. We look at community healthcare and how we participate there, and also we're looking at home care. We have not yet reached there, but this is the vision that has been outlined. And we're also looking at a model which is replicable, and Rajiv ji very well articulated that. And Ayurveda has done it. They have replicated, and they have 7 centers across the country. But to create a model and not being person-centric but system-centric is extremely important. And so, we are also striving towards that. And in this context, in the last few years, we have moved to a metrics-centered model, and the metrics is what drives. So it is a bottom-up, top-down. We mix both these models and try to make it more metric-centric and information and data-centric, because that's extremely important while we're looking at a management strategy of a center. So we are, as of today, we are in our sort of third, we just had a recent reassessment about a couple of months ago. And there is no question about the fact that quality and getting audited and by a body like NABH is important because it helps us improve. And there's an external body monitoring you is always useful because at least the vision is the best interest for patient care, patient safety, and so on. So, like I mentioned, in the last few years, we have put in a lot of effort. While we have policies, we have guidelines, we have audits, and so on, but improving our matrices, we have put in a lot of effort to improve matrices, and every discussion is around matrices. So empowering teams, training teams on matrices is something that we have put in a lot of effort in. I think that is paid off. It is helping in terms of making decisions and so on. So just to give, I was talking to Dr. Swetha, and there's so much that one can talk about, but maybe just looking at patient waiting time, for example. So that's one important metric because when you go to hospital, it takes an hour, 2 hours sometimes to see a doctor, and that's not the best thing. So how do we reduce patient waiting time? Recently I went to Manipal Hospital in Bombay. A relative had to take some treatment. It took me less than 2 minutes to get the registration done. They had a system. They had newer methods to get the registration done. When we started off, our registration time was about 25 minutes. It would take 20-25 minutes in 2011. We have brought that down today to about 4 minutes as of today. And so that's important for us from a patient's perspective. So everything is patient-centric. And how do we improve the quality of care for the patient? Similarly, consultation time has been brought down significantly. Our assessment times from the nurse's perspective have brought down over time. So, and to do this, we do many things. Of course, training is one thing. We visit other centers, we see how they're doing it. We take the team there, get them oriented. So, there are various methods that we adopt to do it, but it's all based on matrices and information and data, right? And similarly, we're talking about other aspects like safety. Safety is again extremely important, whether it is HIC, whether it is patient safety in general. Both these are very important aspects for a patient. And again, we put in a lot of effort to ensure that patient safety is maintained to the maximum extent possible. The other, if you look at HR aspects, when we talk about integrating, many members talk about integrating. While we have standard methods of conducting interviews, we are in the process of doing this, but we would also like to integrate what the text of Ayurveda mentioned about the quality of an individual. There are beautiful set of, like the previous speaker mentioned about the checklist manifesto. There is, for example, a good person or a good student, a good duty doctor should have certain set of qualities. And these qualities have been very well elicited in the Charak Samhita and many of the Indian texts of medicine. And so we are trying to incorporate some of these qualities into the process of hiring somebody so that it makes it more more complete. And when you look at those qualities, for example, Prashantam, Akopanam, Dhritimantam, so somebody who's perseverant, who has the qualities of a learner, and so on and so forth. So there are many qualities that have been enlisted, and we have put these qualities. We are trying to put these qualities into the methods of hiring people, so that the process is more complete. So while integrative or patient-centric care is one aspect of it, we can improve many other aspects of how the management structure can improve using the processes, methods, systems that have been described in the text of Ayurveda, and that is something that we are trying to do. And quickly, just last thing, there are many challenges that we are seeing, but maybe this is the elephant in the room sort of, but surgery, for example, and Dr. Swetha, she is herself a surgeon. But surgery, and somebody, many of the eminent members can maybe look at it more carefully. But if you're looking at the holistic development of surgery, Ayurveda was, in a sense, what gave surgery to the world. And unfortunately, today the physicians who are trained in surgery are unable to perform surgery. And in Karnataka, especially, the KPME Act is very complicated, and it's very difficult for a surgeon who has trained 10 years in this field to even do basic surgeries like, where Ayurveda is strong, like colorectal surgery, because there are so many regulatory requirements. So there are many other challenges, but I'm just highlighting one challenge here. And I will stop because paucity of time.
Thanks, Dr. Prasan. Thanks for highlighting the importance of the metrics in bringing about the patient satisfaction and patient safety in terms of reducing the waiting time, and also on highlighting on the challenges in the surgical part of it. Now let's quickly go to our last speaker of the day, Dr. Premraj Khainar. Dr. Premraj Khainar is we were talking about integrating medicine. Here we have a person who has integrated the medicine in his qualification itself. He is an Ayurveda doctor with a master's in gynec surgery and has also got MBBS degree to his credit. He's a practicing gynecologist and obstetrician at fertility consultant in Nashik. He's the chief scientific medical director of Matru Fertility and Women of World Association of Laparoscopic Surgeon. He's the state coordinator of CAHO India. He has many surgical and successful infertility treatments to his credit. So we would like to hear from you, Doctor, in the terms of quality and accreditation challenges that you are facing. Over to you, sir.
Namaste and good evening to all. All respected dignitaries present on the platform. I am very pleased to see you all here with a very important topic. So let me begin. At the outset, let me thank CAHO for inviting me here, and especially Dr. Swetha for giving me an opportunity to share my views and some of my ideas on this prestigious platform. So before starting, I should definitely tell something about me and some of my story, so that how I am directly or indirectly having some good connections or you can say challenges with NABH accreditation, you all will come to know. So as Dr. Swetha introduced me, I'm a practicing gynecologist and fertility specialist since past 15 years in Nashik city. So specifically, I belong to Maharashtra state, and in our Maharashtra state, the government has given permission very recently in 2019. They have passed a GR, which was the upgraded version of a past GR for AYUSH doctors, that too specifically Ayurveda doctors, that they can practice modern medicine as well as Ayurveda together. So very proudly, I can say that Maharashtra is a state across India who has given a free hand to Ayurveda surgeons. Just 5 minutes before, Dr. Prasanna Shankar was talking about the legacy of surgical expertise in Ayurveda. Actually, Acharya Sushruta has given the surgery to the world. And unfortunately, Ayurveda surgeons, they are keeping aside or they are being kept aside for exposure to the surgeries. So that is how it is a little bit painful when we learn so much of good degree of Ayurveda and we are not able to do the surgeries because of some government policies. So nowadays, the picture is not that disappointing. Nowadays, government policies are being favorable to the Ayurveda surgeons as well. Very recently, we know that most of the government GRs from central government and NCISM, they have drafted some good general resolutions for Ayurveda surgeons of Shalya Tantra, that is general surgery, and Shalakya Tantra, that is ENT specialty in Ayurveda for certain amount of surgeries. So in nutshell, I bring to your notice that this has made me to practice integratively, and the specialty of my practice is integration of Ayurveda and modern medicine for various modalities in obstetrics and gynecology. I believe that ancient wisdom in Ayurveda has a great potential to cure the untreatable entities in modern era. And I can say that whatever little success I have got till date, my practice of 15 years, that convincing success is extracted from the ability to articulate practical Ayurveda hints with modern logics. So this is somewhat background what I am practicing. So in my setup, I am having a wide scope of practice from Panchakarma to surgery, operation theater, everything is there. Yoga, we are having Garbhasakta, Panchakarma, procedures like Uttar Basti, which are the key procedures and very potential procedures in the treatment of infertility. We are doing that beyond the number of 13,000 till date we have performed. So this is the kind of practice I am doing. And when NABH was introduced to Indian healthcare system, we were little bit puzzled that the doctors who are practicing like us with integration, what will be the scope for them? Whether they should register their hospital under allopathy NABH accreditation or they should go with Ayurveda NABH accreditation. So it was a big question mark. Just before COVID times, around 2020, we just started searching for the same, that now along with the world, we should move ahead and we should get accreditation for NABH. So believe me, or you will not believe that the authorities in our city or some state, they were unable to quote that whether we can get both accreditations together, like NABH accreditation from modern medicine and NABH accreditation from AYUSH for the single setup, which is under one roof functioning as well with modern medicine and Ayurveda. So this is what we talk about integration. And when it came to the practicality of standards, then we were a little bit puzzled. So anyhow, fortunately, I came in contact with Dr. Swetha, and she guided me very well that yes, definitely for a single entity, for a single setup of hospital, you can do registration for both of the AYUSH and modern medicine NABH accreditations. And that's how the journey began. Unfortunately, when we were in the process of discussion, COVID arrived, and in the COVID times, again, it was not possible for us to go into the process of NABH accreditation. And very recently, we have again restarted it. Let me share you one experience of mine during the COVID times. Our hospital was converted for CHC, that is COVID Healthcare Center. And this healthcare center catered with 11 beds of ICU and some 30-35 beds of other category. And during this entire tenure of second phase of COVID, we treated all the patients, including the patients which were on ventilator, which were in ICU and in other hospital beds. All the patients were given modern medicine as well as Ayurveda treatment protocols. During this period, we realized that how best it is to give such kind of integrated treatment to the patients, because very proudly I can share here that we were announced the best center across our city to have minimum mortality rate for CHC. And that could have been possible because of these integrated treatments. When it comes to this kind of good integration, we don't have that much guidelines that the people like us, how we should process or progress ahead. Fortunately, we can, today I have a lot of views from the experts, whether maybe AYUSH, Siddha or some other contemporary medicine practices, that this can be done in which way. Now, our current status is we are just entering in the process of AYUSH NABH accreditation first, and then we shall move to NABH allopathy or modern medicine as well. So we are just at entry level. The challenges right now we are facing is that the structure we are having is almost 15 years old, and the structural changes in the infrastructure is a big challenge in front of us, because for NABH accreditation, there are many conditions regarding the measurements. Though I am practicing in a tier 2 city, but the doctors who are practicing in metro cities like Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, in such big cities, there is always a sparsity of the practicing space. So we are not sure that each and every criteria could be met by us when it comes to the measurement or the infrastructure specifications. This is one thing. Secondly, I already have my clarification on that, that common NABH accreditation for integrated hospitals is not in practice. You have to take 2 NABH accreditations separately if you are integrated practitioners. Okay, so though these kind of hospitals may be very less in number across India, but if we can see the near future, the world is demanding of kind of integration of medical sciences. And as many speakers quoted that during COVID era, we came to know that each and every science his strong points and some limitations as well. So integration is some kind of thing which should be given a free hand for NABH accreditation as well, because integrated NABH accredited hospitals will really do better for the patient care under one roof. This is the one very important thing. Second thing, when we talk about the policymakers who are facilitating the way of AYUSH practitioners inside India or across India and beyond the horizons or internationally, they are definitely thinking of integration somewhere in their mind. So today or tomorrow, doctors, they will be practicing integrated practices for their better patient care. In such scenario, it should be a wise step that the integrated hospital should have a single process to get NABH accredited, and some kind of research can be done in such places. I think so. It's my kind request, all our experts there. Second thing, we are facing problems in initial stages like application training and SOPs. So these kind of things are really, you can say like worry for us in place of integration. Again, we would like to highlight that SOPs from national institutes which are across India. If we talk about Ayurveda, there are many national institutes who are preparing SOPs. When I talk about specifically my subject in gynecology obstetrics of Ayurveda, so these SOPs can be well taken by NABH accreditation board, and that can be implemented, which will make an ease to do the things for us. And yes, there are some few questions in my mind that how NABH can help in empanelment of health insurance companies. So this is a big question because nowadays health insurance is a major part. And lastly, question in my mind comes that is NABH accreditation system is facilitating for medical tourism as well. Medical tourism is being facilitated. If yes, then in which manner it is helping? So these are few questions, as I am not a accredited member, but these are the questions which will really help me to progress ahead. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank you, Dr. Swetha, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving us a perspective of a beginner in the field of quality journey. And it was nice to know the challenges that you are facing as a aspirant for accreditation process. Definitely today's talk, though we have overshooted with time, we have collected a lot of information and multiple things have come up. So this is definitely going to pave way for more particular topic-based discussion through CAHO as a platform. So I would love to hand over the session to Father Johnson. Father Johnson, over to you.
It's true that we overshot by 30 minutes, but it was never a waste of time. A lot of interesting aspects discussed. Most of the things were completely new to me. So thank you for all that. And there was one very, very important question in the Q&A box that was connected to this integrated approach. And Dr. Rajiv answered that question in a detailed manner. So thank you, Dr. Rajiv. And some of the things that Dr. Premraj highlighted, I also had the same experience in my organization. We have multiple systems in my organization. Thank you for those highlights. But I officially welcome Ms. Gayatri, member in the Healthcare Division of CAHO, to say the word of thanks. Gayatri.
Thank you, Father Johnson. Thank you so much. I think I'm doing the most easiest part in the conference today. I mean, in this webinar, especially the vote of thanks. But I think behind the last 1.5 hours that we have seen, that it was such a great learning experience for each and every one of us, trying to understand the most important wing of our healthcare industry. So thank you so much, Dr. Swetha and the entire team of doctors for giving us this opportunity to understand the AYUSH working, the integration, and how things happen in the industry. So I think we are very sorry we are not able to take questions today in this session because we have really overshot on time and we value your evening. So I'm going straight into the vote of thanks, but this is just the first beginning of many more such meetings. Therefore, we should look forward to congregate more and meet more often to discuss such meaningful discussions, because certain things are very, very common found in the last 1 hour. All our challenges are very, very common, but starting from average length of stay in hospitals to balancing the costs and quality in the HCOs, digital health and telemedicine, acknowledgement as a training institution for yourself, coaching therapists, refreshing training, then empanelment and insurance, medical tourism. Everything is very, very common to all parts of healthcare industry. So I think CAHO would aim to achieve it all for you, for the AYUSH and for this industry. We look forward to a synergy with a new energy to make landmark in the history of AYUSH with the help of CAHO joining the team. And it's a very special vote of thanks to every one of you in this meeting today, starting from Dr. Swetha, who moderated this session. And thank you for your coherence completely from the beginning to the end. And Mr. Rajiv Vasudevan, Professor Dr. J Jeyavenkatesh, Mr. Prasad, and Dr. Mruthyunjaya Swamy, Dr. J Jeyavenkatesh, Dr. Prasanna Kakunje, and Mr. Thaomunglung, and Dr. Prasanna Shankar, Dr. Prasan Shankar, and Dr. Premraj. I request all of you to please always stay with CAHO and also introduce CAHO to some of your friends. Today's session has been very, very memorable for each and every one of us, and we look forward to facing all the challenges